Yo guys, just when we thought the onslaught was done, IK Multimedia dropped another AI voice changer. So this one's called Resing. I want to shout out Star Ackerman for hooking me up with this because this thing might be the best voice changer I've heard so far. So Sound ID is our #1 by SonarWorks, but this one I think sounds a little bit better in terms of what it could do. So firstly, what we're going to do is take this audio from our G-Funk session here.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah. Smoking on some that la la la.
All right, and we're gonna run it through this. Now, it takes some getting used to. So the workflow is a little bit different. There's not like a typical record button. So in Logic specifically, what we have to do is click on the audio file to open up our audio editor down here, go to Functions, and then go to where it says Show File in Finder. This will show you where the file is on your computer because this uses a drag and drop system, a little bit different. Okay, so we're gonna left click and drag this into the bottom of Resing. Now, another thing that basically, in order to hear your stuff in Resing, you have to hit play. But when you hit play, you're hearing the original sound as well. So it gets a little confusing for the beginners. So what I like to do is I'll hit play on the full track.
Cruising down the
And I think now I can read this. You see how the play button turned white? So now I'm going to mute this by right clicking and muting the original. And now I hit play in the DAW. And now I should be able to. All right, so it's like, all right, let's do this again.
cruising down the 4-5, yeah,
Mute
yeah.
this one. Okay, now I should be able to play it inside of this plugin. So as you guys can hear, this is me loading up to the microphone.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah.
So that's how it works.
I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah.
So that might be a little tricky for beginners. You're like, why don't you hear anything? It's because I think it needs some kind of audio. Don't get me to making up tutorials. This is not a tutorial. Anyway, so what we're going to do here is pick a voice model. So when you guys install this, it will actually download different voice models for you. All right, so let's check out the list. So if you click where it says the name, you could click this drop down and you could even favorite your favorites. So what I did was I switched my voice over to the singer called William. So he's labeled as singing falsetto. And what we're going to do is basically in the bottom right, it says process. So apparently this doesn't use a credit system like the other plugins use this credit system, and it makes it convoluted. This one, apparently, when you install the actual model, you're running it from your local computer. So it's basically you're just running it from your GPU. Okay, so we're gonna hit process, and this will take a little bit of time, but the quality is actually really good. I didn't change anything. It's on balanced, it's on mixed mode. The dynamic is on source, and I don't know if it's gonna add these effects or not, but we'll hear once this is done. Again, I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but again, the way I trigger it is I unmute the audio and then I mute it.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah.
All right, let me do this again. Unmute it.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah.
Mute it, and then I go to Resing. I'm sure that's not the way to go about it, but so here's the new AI.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah. Smoking on some that la la la.
That's crazy.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah. Smoking on some that la la la. Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah. Smoking on some that la la la.
So my only confusion point is just how to line this up in the DAW. So until I figure out how to actually hit play and then this plays, don't consider this a tutorial. It's just my reaction to it. So let's figure this out. Oh, duh, it's a drag and drop system. Okay, so basically at the bottom, you just left click where it's green and just drag it straight into a new track. All I have to do now is just line this up with the actual project. So you just drag and drop, just like you dragged and dropped the audio in, you drag and drop the audio out. That makes sense. Okay, so now we have this audio. I just have to now line it up with this project. And this is because my recording had a 2-bar lead in. So that was like invisible audio to Logic. It doesn't show you that 2-bar lead in. So basically Resing is processing that 2 bars of lead in time. All right, so now it's lined up. All I had to do is just chop out 2 bars. Now this is the final reveal. So I'm going to turn off the middle one. And let's
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah. Smoking on some that la la la.
So this is dope for people who want to create harmonies, who want to sing as new styles of artists. I'm going to actually try this on a country song I just made. Crazy, I know. BusyWorks Beats doing country. But last night we were messing with Suno and we did a country track. And I want to replace that vocal with another different style of vocal. So let's...
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah, yeah. Smoking on some that la la la.
So if you guys hear that meow, that's, in my opinion, the AI, the way it's trained. I think it takes noise and it like uses a bunch of filters to shape out tones. So when you guys hear that meow, I think that's the AI just like trying to process noise signals into something. So all we got to do is just chop that out. It's not a big deal. Those are just natural artifacts of using transformers like this one. So I say the quality is definitely the highest that I've heard. My only question is, will this work for different voices? And the instrument, we got to try the instrument too.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah. I just want.
And also, I think people might find the recording into it a little confusing. I think that's probably where you guys will have a little confusion. So I'll make more tutorials about it. But again, all you got to do in Logic, at least, double click on your file, click here where it says functions, go to show file in Finder. You're going to find the actual file that you recorded, drag this into Resing. And now let's try something different. Let's try an instrument this time around. So now we're going to process this as a saxophone. If this can do saxophone, I'm definitely about to pull all saxophone melodies back, because I could do it. I could sing out saxophone melodies all day long. I just might not be able to play it perfectly, but I have saxophone melodies in my head from when I was a kid. So if this turns it into what I think, this reminds me of Google's project. I want to say it was called like DDSP or something like that, where you could take your voice and basically turn it into different instruments, like a trumpet, a flute, a saxophone. So this is the great reveal. Let's see what this sounds like. You guys, I think we have unlocked a new level of melodies. I just heard the preview on this and it's crazy. I can't even imagine if I actually tried to sing like a saxophone. Listen to what this sounds like. It even feels like, because saxophones. Now imagine I was actually, in the right octave. I think they have a transpose button in here as well. There's so much to learn about this plugin. Apparently you could transpose this as well. I wonder if that works for saxophone. All right, so for a while, I'm not gonna lie, the transpose button, I was sitting here clicking, trying to drag the value. What you do is you click these little dots. Okay, that's how you transpose. My dumb self was clicking the 0, trying to change the value. So if you're like me, everything doesn't come right away. It takes a while. Okay, so now we're going to reprocess this, but now we're going to do it 1 octave higher. So now we're going to test their ability to time stretch our recordings to higher octaves. That's usually where AI tends to fail. So let's process this. IK Multimedia is cooking, y'all. They are cooking. And apparently they were doing this like behind the scenes with their guitar stuff. I think Tone X, that uses some machine learning from what I understand. So that was like their foyer into this, and this is really, really good. Listen, y'all, this is where AI tends to flop, which is when you go to record your vocal, you transpose it up or down an octave, and then it just basically completely flops because it doesn't understand time stretching as well as other programs. But this one, I'm about to hit play, and it sounds crazy. And you know what we're about to do? Actually, let's hear this with the other stuff. So let's unsolo this, and I gotta mute some of these tracks. Okay, so now we have the saxophone, we have the William voice, and then we have the track.
Cruising down the 4-5, yeah. I just want some that fire, yeah.
If I sung in key, that would sound crazy. So I might do a track where we just do only Resing vocals. Let's go into the country track and try that. Now here's one app. As I'm doing this workflow, I'm going to say one thing that's very, very, very rare is when I prefer a standalone app. But I actually prefer the standalone Resing because it helps the workflow. So I'm glad they also added Resing, the actual standalone, because this allows us to hit play without waiting for the DAW. I think it's called like the slave playback or whatever. Basically, the confusion comes for beginners when they have to hit play in the DAW in order to hit play in this. But when you guys have it as a standalone app, you could just hit play without the DAW actually being in play. So let's load up the country song. All right, guys. So now we have a project where I did my vocals and I did my drums, and then we used Suno Studio for the other instruments. So here's the original. In the meantime, let's load up this audio file.
Girl, I've been watching. You're all I wanted. But at the end end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching. You're all I wanna do.
Pull out my country
But
bag.
at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine.
I was going in. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was feeling myself. I was like, wait, I could do country, y'all. I wanna know that you're mine. All right, so what we're gonna do is use the standalone app. I think this is a better workflow for producers personally, especially if you're in Logic. So all you have to do is just find your audio track. I showed you guys how to do it from Logic. Left click and drag it into Resing. So as you guys can see, the play button is white. It's not grayed out like it was in the plugin version. So this means we can hit play whenever, and we don't have to wait for our DAW. And now we can skip around. And the reason that's important is because you want to quickly preview. You don't want to have to do all that stop, play, stop, mute type of stuff. So I think personally, this app it's rare because I rarely like apps, standalone apps. This is one app I would definitely say use it in standalone. Okay, which means you have to run it as an app outside of your DAW. This is probably the best workflow for producers, in my opinion, because it's a little confusing the other way. Okay, now we can test out a lot of vocals without having to do all this stuff. So let's try Bob's vocals. Let's hear what this even sounds like, first of all. I think do they take our file? So I think this play button actually gives us our file run through this model. So I think it's processing a little bit of it. All right, so my bad. I turned on preview mode. So basically I don't want to hear preview. I just want to hear whatever audio demo they have associated to this file, this model. All right, that's a cool voice, but I want somebody who has that country twang to them. English people, I don't know if they have country style people over in England. Let's try Alex. He seems very rocky. Let's try Larry. Oh, he's super rocky. Let's try Neil. Oh, he's extra rocky. Let's try Spencer. He's a bit raspy. Let me think. Let me think of my melody. Hold on. I feel like a raspy voice might be fire on here. So let's actually try our guy Spencer on this one. And all we got to do from here is I guess the question is, how do we process from here? Because now the process button isn't enabled. So now we got to figure out what's the next steps here. Let's figure out what I have to do here. As I was trying to figure this out, I actually clicked on this model tab, and you guys can actually import RVC models. So for those who know how to, I think I might be wrong, but if you guys know how to get, I think it's called weights. And again, I'm just kind of freestyling this, but RVC was the technology we were using to change our vocals. So I'm curious if we can import different vocals that we have in our stash in terms of different models. That's dope. And then the Resing models are like expansions onto this. So I'm still looking around to see if we can figure out a way to process this audio. I don't see anything that's like obvious, but give me some time here. All right, so I just reloaded Resing, and now the process button is open. So I must have clicked something that prevented that from happening. So let's just click it from here. Oh wait, I don't even know if you guys can see. I might be blocking it with my head. Here we go. All right, now it lets me process. So I must have clicked on something before. I also gave it a full disk access in the Mac settings to, maybe that was the case. I'm not sure. Okay, so guys, I think the error that I made was I clicked on that preview and I switched it off, and I think it was trying to process the preview for the other model that we chose in the list, and it just got stuck processing because I switched it off so fast. That's what I guess. Now it's working correctly. So again, like I said, I think the best workflow for this is actually using the standalone app, meaning you want to open this up alongside of your DAW. Using it as a plugin, it requires like other steps. You really have to know what you're doing to kind of get the audio to play. So that's a little confusing for the beginner, but I think opening it up as a standalone makes so much more sense. So this is just how I use some of my favorite voice changers. So far, so good. And this is definitely my favorite one so far. Now this is going to be the crazy reveal. I'm not even going to listen to it first. We're going to drag it in, line it up. I think I did a 2-bar count in, or was it 2 bars or 1 bar? I think it was 2 bars. Yeah, 2-bar count in. So let's delete 2 bars. And then we're going to run it through the same channel. So this had auto tune on it. Let's duplicate this to be fair. Duplicate. All right, we're going to drag this up. And you could even create duets. This is going to be so crazy, y'all. I'm telling you. So crazy. All right, let's mute the original. And now let's hear what Spencer sounds like.
Girl, I've been watching. You're all I wanna.
Let's go.
But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching you.
This is crazy.
You're all I wanna do.
What?
But at the end of the night,
Whoops, my bad. I hit save as. This is crazy, y'all. What have we unlocked? This is definitely the best one I've heard. It doesn't have any artifact. It does have some artifacts when you have noise or like gaps in your audio, but that can be just turned off. But in terms of the voice itself, let's try. I wonder if we switch the style, what would that do? Let's do lively. Looks like it has more vibrato. Mellow looks like it has less vibrato. And then it has an accent machine. I don't know what this means. Like I don't know what that means, but I'm curious what that means. All right, let's reprocess this and then hear what the new version sounds like compared to the old one. So this is crazy, y'all. My voice could never do this without really hurting my voice. So this is perfect.
Girl, I've been watching you. You're all I wanna do. But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching you. You're all I wanna do. But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching you. You're all I wanna do. But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching you.
Now I'm gonna drag in the more lively one.
All I wanna do. But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching you.
This is crazy.
You're all I wanna.
He said, "You're all."
But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been
It even did the
watching
mine. Let's go.
You're all I wanna do.
Hold up.
But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl, I've been watching you.
This is hold up. This is crazy, y'all.
Wanna do. But at the end of the night, I wanna know that you're mine. Girl,
This has so much expression in it that other models do not have. So Sound ID was my one at the top. Resing has taken the top spot. Shout out to Star Ackerman for sending this to me because I would have never known unless I just heard about it through the grapevine. So shout out to Star for putting me on. This is crazy. Let's hear it with the more lively version.
Girl, I've been watching you. You're all I wanna.
I like how they give you different, you could do lively, you could do smooth, because human voices, they're not just, I don't speak like this all of the time. I do not. I am good. What's a song like? Beat it, no one wants to beat it, beat. Like, I don't talk that way when I'm saying, beat it. Okay, it's a different expression. So the fact that they have all these expressions, you could transpose up and down, and it gives you one octave. What else do they have in here? You have the accent control, and then you could also do this like timbre thing down here. I didn't mess with this. I don't even know what this means. I guess I don't know what this is. Again, this is not a tutorial. I'm going through it just like you guys will go through it. This is crazy, y'all. We got to try one more track in my FL, but this is crazy. Here's what we're going to do. So we have two different takes. We have the live version, and then we have the balanced version. So I'm going to see if we pan one hard left, one hard right. These should sound like a nice wide sound.
Girl, I've been watching you. You're all I want. But at the end of the night, I want to know that you're mine.
So there are differences, and we wouldn't, if there were no differences, we wouldn't hear that width to the sound. So there are definitely differences. IK has been cooking behind the scenes. They were silently cooking on this one. Now let's open up FL. I think I recorded some other vocals in FL. All right, now the ultimate test. Can it do rap? I have no idea. I'm going through this plugin just like anybody else would. So I freestyled in the booth. This is not like a crazy verse or anything. We were just trying to get the energy down for like a young Jeezy track.
First off, I ain't had my hands by the way. Hop out the coupe and ride and feel my hands by the way. Slide through your block, got that hands by the way. Hop out that Billy truck, I'm riding for the hands by the way. Hop out, Billy truck, I'm hands by the way.
All right, so it has energy to it. So let's double click in here. We're gonna right click and we're gonna locate the file. This will open up the file explorer. And again, I think the best workflow for all DAWs, at least from what I understand, is doing it with the standalone app, not the plugin version. Let's left click and drag this into the bottom here. And let's see if we can find any kind of rapper type voices. Now, I assume the girls aren't going to be the rapper voice. So let's try some guy voices. And you know what I just did again? I forgot to turn off preview. So I don't know if he would. Oh, that's okay. I need a black guy voice. Do they have any black dudes in here? All right, they got a dude named Tyron. Thing is, he's singing though. I need a rapper voice. Huh. All right, we're gonna try Tyrone. It may or may not work. I don't know. Let's try it. And I think because I clicked that preview button, see how it doesn't have the process button in the bottom right? So that I don't know if that's like a glitch or what, but I think that's what's causing the hang up here. All right, so I recommend you guys when you go through the different models, turn off preview mode because I'm not sure. I just turn that off when you go through the different options here. All right, so we found Tyrone and now it lets us process the audio. We don't need anything in particular. Maybe let's make it more energetic because this is kind of energetic, and let's hit process. So it doesn't take very long. It takes, about the same time any other one would take. It's actually a little bit faster than from what I remember from Sound ID. But like I said, this tops Sound ID. So if this can do rap, then it is for sure taking the spot. But it's hard for AI to do rap. So let's just see if it can hold up to this type of rhythm and cadence and like texture in the voice, which my goal was to sound like Young Jeezy. But also remember, guys, you can actually drag in your own RVC models too. For people who understand what that is, if you go to the model tab, the library tab here, you can drag in your own RVC. So for the people who have other vocal models already on your computer, boom, you could drag them right into IK. So they're hooking you up. You don't have to use their stuff necessarily. It is a nice interface. So here we have, oh, Tyrone got bars. Hold up, y'all. Hold up, y'all. Yo. Tyrone actually sounds like a rapper, y'all.
First off, I ain't had my.
He said, have my.
Hop out the Cooper, ride off in my.
That's crazy.
Slide through your block, got the.
Why does he sound like he's
Hop out that Billy Chuck and ride for the.
Oh, IK, what have y'all been cooking? This sounds so detailed. Listen to like this part.
Slide through your block, got the.
Like that. Listen to the breaths like that. Like the breaths.
Slide through your block, got the. Hop out that Billy Chuck and ride for the. Hop out, Billy Chuck 'em.
That's crazy, bro. I would have never thought this would be done. All right, here it is. Now it's not mixed for this beat, so I gotta kind of turn stuff down.
First off, I ain't had my hands by the way. Hop out the Cooper, ride off in my hands by the way. Slide through your first off, I ain't had my hands by the way. Hop out the Cooper, ride off in my hands by the way. Slide through your block, got this. Hop out that Billy Chuck and ride for the hands by the way. Hop out, Billy Chuck.
He said hop out.
Surf cold, surfboard song. Usually I'm on the blocking. Hopping out the Billy Cooper, steady rocking. First off, Billy Cooper rocking. Hop up in the building, count my niggas with that. First off, used to tear the block. Hopping in the feeling, used to run.
Let's go, Tyrone. Let's go. Whoever they trained on for Tyrone, put it down for the hip hop vocals. Shout out to whoever is Tyrone. Tyrone is definitely my favorite one. We're going to hit that star button on Tyrone. That's crazy. I would have never thought it would have the cadence of a rapper, but it does.
First off,
that's so crazy. I don't think y'all understand. Like, if I ran this through the other stuff, it would just sound like garble.
First off, I ain't had my.
From other companies, I mean.
Hop out the Cooper, ride off in my. Slide through your block, got the. Hop out that Billy Chuck and ride for the. Hop out, Billy Chuck 'em. Surf cold, surfboard song. Usually I'm on the blocking.
Let's go.
Hopping out the Billy Cooper, steady rocking. First off, Billy Cooper rocking. Hop up in the building, count my niggas with that. First off, used to tear the block. Hopping in the feeling, used to rock. I was in the ceiling, had the pants or the mask. By the way, I'm in the feeling, got the coupe, I got your bed. Used off, first off, had the. Used to with the body with the soft, had the.
Wow, yo, that's crazy. I honestly cannot believe that sounds like an actual rapper. I don't know how they figured out how to do all the small stuff like the breaths, the like revving up to say something. All the little details are there. Like I said, my favorite way to use this is as a standalone app. Just open this up, drag your audio in it, process it, drag it back into your DAW. I think that's the best workflow for this. Shout out to Star Ackerman for hooking me up with this because this is crazy. Peace out, you guys.